And now to our keynote speaker, fresh from co-chairing the Global Citizen Now and constantly promoting and marketing Barbados to the world. Our own Prime Minister, who said it very well, that it comes very rarely to a generation to change the pattern of history and to transform a nation. She is at the helm of that transformation for us. Please give her a warm May Day welcome, the Honorable Mia Amor-Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I do not expect such a lukewarm response in my constituency. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy May Day. You know, I wanted to be able to stand here and to speak to you 3 years ago, and we couldn't. I wanted to do it 2 years ago, and we couldn't. Last year, as we were easing out, we didn't because we were still mindful of the fact that people were concerned about being outside. But today, having come through some of the most grueling moments in what in less than 23 days will be 5 years in government, we are here and we are standing and we are moving forward as a nation. But in doing so, we have to recognize where we were, where we are, who we are, and where we are going. When we came to office 4 years and 11 months ago, we told you that there were some mission-critical things that we needed to do to get us out in the first 100 days from the spectacle of losing the value of our dollar, from having to deal with sewage in the streets, from having to deal with buses not running and garbage not being collected because we simply had not done what we were supposed to do. In short term, the gas tank was effectively empty and we were moving on fumes. And what saved us was not simply, it's not about us, the government. It was the country coming together as one. It was the private sector stepping up and understanding that they could not manage a continuous inflationary environment if our dollar was devalued. It was about the workers understanding that not only would jobs be lost, but in addition to that, when they went to the supermarket or the shop every week, the prices would, if you think you see inflation, no, you ain't seen no inflation yet. When you have a devaluation, everything that you have would literally be cut in 3 or 4. But we made it. And we made it because we set ourselves a mission and we knew who the team was. The team was, yes, the private sector, yes, the labor movement, yes, the government, yes, the people of Barbados, who by their actions and their voice consented to what was necessary. And I stand today on this May Day to give thanks for the sacrifice of some of you who actually had to make that sacrifice with your actual jobs. And we have tried through the Household Mitigation Unit and through other jobs being created to make back up, because we all know that sometimes when you are sick, you have to take the medicine, and the medicine, Buckley's, don't taste good, but it does. You got it. And when we thought that we had restructured our debt and we had done the mission-critical things and everything was teed up to take off, we then understood what God we were serving with the rest of the world. And from COVID to climate, we have been literally knocked from pillar to post, having to deal with it. And mission survival And we give thanks today for those who labored from whatever part of this country, be it the supermarkets or the water authority or the hospitals or the garbage collectors, or all forms of labor became absolutely noble in the eyes of all. Because without that, and everyone playing their part, this country would have seen far worse. And today, as the world moves its head from the pandemic, remains constantly gazed at the climate crisis, worrying about the next pandemic, concerned about the deep divisions and inequity, because what happened during the last 3 years made the divisions deeper. And the poor got poorer and the richer got richer. And we have now also to recognize that our children, look at them around here. How many of us could have withstood 3 years of no school and be standing where we are standing today? The digital divide that this government did much to bridge, but in other parts of the world, children remained without access to both tablets or tuition. Let us be real as we stand today. We know that it is not an easy world, and we know that challenges still face us. But we stand today on the 1st of May 2023 convinced of one thing. Even if it is not immediately apparent to others, that we can make it if we do it together. And today is a statement in the trusting the people of Barbados, that we've done it more than once, more than twice, that our grandparents and great-grandparents had to band together in order to show unity, that the very organizations who speak today could only have existed when people looking like all of us in here came together and decided that the forces that kept us divided could no longer do so, because we, the people, have the capacity to stand up and do better for our lives and for our people. And what is real? Throughout history, challenges emerge and then challenges are conquered and new challenges emerge. We thought as an independent country, as a new republic, that our ability to chart should be clear. But we are as good as the rest of the world allows us to be. We're as good as the climate allows us to be. We're as good as the pandemics and our own ability to manage our own health allows us to be. And we have therefore reached this stage today, not because of a top-down approach. Many of you wonder, why this government every month going and talking to people? So Parish speaks, St. Lucy speaks, St. Joseph speaks, St. Thomas speaks, St. Peter speaks. Everybody. Because especially when you gave us the mandate that you gave us, it is our duty. It is our duty to come and listen in an unfiltered manner to the desires, to the comments, to the concerns of our people. And in so listening, it became very, very clear to us that we have a duty to reflect what you are saying with our philosophy. And our philosophy has remained constant from the Covenant of Hope launched in May of 2016 at the Barbados Workers' Union Solidarity House and approved in October 15, 2015 by the greatest and most powerful organ in our party, the annual conference. So we have not come here by accident, but as a government, our responsibility was to listen to the people month by month by month by month. And out of that, you told us a few things. You told us that you were concerned, maybe not in the fancy language of the climate crisis, But when the people of St. Lucie concerned about brown water and no water, and the people of Boscobel and St. Peter want to be in the position of the people of St. Joseph, who now have water after many years. When the farmers in Mount Poyer and Spring Hall tell us about the lack of water for food, or in St. Philip by River, and you now have the ability to be able to mitigate some of that with the ponds that the government has put down, but we are still having problems getting the yield that we want. When you in the private sector or ordinary citizens continue to bemoan, well, how come I could talk to my sister in New York on video and I can't get a simple matter pay in a government department? And even though we have done the police certificate of character and many other things, and you can pay some taxes online, we are not yet where we need to be in terms of bringing the country into a digital environment so that you can literally engage the world from here. And when you told us about the fact that too many people in your family got sugar, that a foot get amputated, that this one got to go for dialysis and can't get the appointment on time because simply the system is buckling under the pressure of a diabetes epidemic in this country, where we need to take responsibility for our lives and watch what we eat and determine how we move if we are not to end up as another statistic in the diabetes war. Or when we hear workers say that I would like to be able to do a little more, but I don't know how to because nobody ain't giving me no chance to say or to have a say in what we're doing. And that we doing this every day. And if somebody would only talk to me and listen to me, that I may be able to help them solve some problems and how to get this thing fixed. At the same time, in the same way, what matters is how do we create an environment in our workplace that gives voice to that most Barbadian of sayings, we is we. We is we mean we put this mission together. We is we mean that you and me facing the same thing and that we gonna work together. We is we means that the very thing that this government declared from day one, share the burden, share the bounty, that in this all of us are together. We heard you and we have responded. And I say to you today on this May Day, without any further lot of long talk, that we are here to give expression to 6 missions, which I now articulate. I first shared it on November 30th last year. And since December, members of this social partnership, all of them, those here and not here, have been involved in the process of bringing us to these 6 missions. They are the result of what you have said to us, the people of this nation. And we will spend the next few months, 2 months in particular, identifying the steps to each mission for each of us. We have given ourselves that 7-year period because we believe that mission transformation is possible in 7 years. And what are the goals? 1, that by 2030, we become a clean and beautiful large ocean state, championing sustainable development locally and globally, with the goal of all domestic activities becoming 100% sustainable by 2035. 2, that by 2030, transform Barbados into a country of active, involved citizens. All Barbadians will feel empowered and engaged in the social, economic, and cultural development of the country as confident, creative, compassionate, and entrepreneurial citizens. 3, by 2030, ensure that every Bajan has equitable and reliable access to clean water and nutritious food that is affordable. 4, by 2030, create a society that prioritizes wellness and happiness, improve public health and safety, leading to a 50% reduction in new cases of non-communicable diseases and a 50% reduction in crime. 5, by 2030, empower and enfranchise all Barbadian workers and families by creating opportunities for ownership and for wealth creation that enable Barbadians to take better care of themselves and each other and to reduce the rate of poverty by 50%. And 6, by 2030, transform Barbados to be a high-functioning, resilient society with seamless access to services and meaningful digital inclusion for all Barbadians. My friends, those are 6 missions. And you know, it's not about us on this platform. It is about you and you and you and you and you and each and every one who chooses, not what I say, who chooses to make a difference in the land of their birth. These things are all achievable. I want to salute the leadership of the government who is here. All of the public servants and chief technical officers of related grades, hold your hands up for me and let us salute you, please. Don't be shy. I know it's politicians who normally hold up their hands. I want to salute the ministers and the parliamentary secretary who is also here making a difference to show that we can achieve this. Please hold up your hands too, because you got heavy lifting to do very soon. I want to salute the members of the private sector and the labor movement who are up front. Please hold up your hands too, because you all constitute the leadership of this country. But to all who are also here, you cannot have leadership without people who are prepared to follow and to build. And I ask all who are in botanical gardens or all who hear my voice today, tomorrow, next year, next month, to commit and to raise your hands if you believe that Barbados can be made better by you doing a little more, a little longer, a little stronger, a little harder, a little every day. All in favor, put up your hands. Let me see who is on board this train. I can't see the ones in the back there. Put up your hands if you're on board this train. I want the ones out there by the food stalls. Put up your hands if you're on board this train. And I say to you, as we do that, never forget that 85 years ago, before our labor movement and our riots, our revolution for a modern Barbados started, that all of us barring a handful, were in the same boat. And we understood unity then. And in spite of the fact that a few have gotten on the train before others, we will only meet the global challenges on top of the local ones that we already have if we band together and many hands make light work. And if we agree from this point that share the burden and share the bounty has not just been words for us. It is why there's a minimum wage that was established in the middle of COVID for the most disadvantaged among us. It is why that we found, even in an IMF program, the ability to bring on people to help them get through the roughest of times. But above all else, it is why we understand intrinsically in our belly that if we miss this train to make Barbados world class, then we shall be no different from the Africans who came here as slaves, because it will be then when we shall be takers of prices, takers of circumstances, takers of instructions, rather than being friends of all and satellites of none, firm craftsmen of our fate, determined to build the best Barbados possible. Let us band together as a nation and remember this day as a day that says all who came before did well, but it is not sufficient to get us home. And now we must summon the will and the courage. Work with who you like and who you don't like. Talk with who you like and who you don't like. Respect each other as the young people tell us. But above all else, as the Bible tells us, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and to care for each other. Look into the mirror and love who you see. But above all else, remember that if you try to walk and trod this road alone, you're not going to make it. And we have the example of success. Mission survival, made. Mission critical, made. Let us now let others look back on this day and let us be successful in mission transformation. God bless Barbados. God bless its workers. And 3 cheers for the workers of Barbados. Hip hip. Hip hip. A little louder in St. Michael Northeast, please. Hip hip. Go on. Take care.